Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. I've been strengthening brands through PR for over 35 years, and now I'm celebrating the success of executives, influencers, business owners, and entrepreneurs from all around the world, all of whom have cultivated their brands and broadened their networks through traditional and digital networking methods. Each week, I interview one of these interesting and influential individuals and provide an opportunity for you, the PR Maven Nation, to gain insights from their strategies and stories. So stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven, and I've been working in public relations throughout my long career, and I have a special interest in personal branding. It's what makes you stand out from others and everyone else who does the same thing you do, and it attracts people to what you have to offer. I'm a keynote speaker, an author, and a columnist for the Forbes Agency Council and Maine Biz. My audiences have said that helping them think about their superpower has changed the way they think about their careers and their lives. So if you like this episode, I hope you'll share it with others who might be interested in hearing it. And with me today is our guest, Kerina, who's the Maine Career Exploration Program Manager. Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, Kay.
Thanks so much, Nancy. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here too. And you're also in Portland, Maine today, but we're just in two separate spaces in the same city.
We are. I love that though.
Yeah, me too. So Kerina is a Mainer, born and raised, and I have verified that. I've explored the details with her. She has spent the last 7+ years working in social work, human services, and alternative education, serving students with barriers to employment. Working in youth advocacy and community outreach is a passion that drives Kay to help build and enrich her community with a hands-on approach. In youth workforce development, Kay aims to support youth and set them up for success by helping them find meaningful and fulfilling work opportunities. As a social working person, she brings a whole person approach to all her work, and I can vouch for that too. And she helps people to see the whole picture, to hold space for community and support each other. As a social justice and JDEIA practitioner, Kay aims to be a lifelong learner that implements systemic change for the many communities that she supports. Diving deeper into learning how every community wants to be supported is a journey she likes to move at the speed of trust with, and is incredibly grateful for the communities that let her advocate for and with them. So welcome, Kay.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Nancy.
So tell us about your career so far and how you got involved with the Maine Career Exploration in the first place.
Yeah, so it's very funny. I don't have the typical linear career trajectory. I had a really happy accident happen to me when I came back to Maine and really got to find my mission, my values, my passion, and have enjoyed everything that I've done up until this point. I have had the chance to be in corporate communications. I've worked in fashion before. I have had the opportunity to work a little bit in PR and advertising, and bringing all of those culminating skills into each next step has been a really awesome opportunity. And when I fell into the work that I'm doing now, it really was a happy accident. It's just the the stars aligned, and I was able to take a position that started working with young people and getting them employment opportunities, whether it was entry level or next steps, and finally feeling like I was making a difference in my community. And I really latched onto that moment. And now taking that from that one direct service position, working one on one with kids, to the next one where I was working with a community based organization, to the next one where I was working with the school system, to the next one where I am here at the state. I felt so lucky in all of those. And really, it's the young people that have kept me progressing and making sure that I am here for them to make the world just as amazing of a place as it can be for them.
Well, I know from having spoken to you, you had good parents and a solid upbringing, and you also had a very good education. You graduated with your bachelor's from Manhattanville College. Is that
I
correct?
did, yes, in Westchester, New York.
That's right. And you went to Cheverus High School for your high school
I did, I
education.
did.
Yeah. And you grew up in Bath, Maine. Is that
I
correct?
did, yes. So from when I was born until about eighth grade, we lived in Bath, and then we moved to Bodenham and was commuting from Bodenham all the way to Portland. And that was a journey.
Yeah, you probably spent a lot of time studying while you were driving back and forth.
I would have loved audiobooks then. I really would have.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I know. I would have when I was growing up also. So, Maine Career Exploration is a project of the Department of Economic and Community Development of the state of Maine. How will it help grow Maine's economy?
Yeah, so thinking about the workforce attraction and the young people that we need to really bolster our workforce over the next 10 years, the Maine Career Exploration Program really aims to help connect young people to the many businesses and opportunities that are available in Maine while participating in the Maine economy. Whether it's with a small, medium, or large size business, we want to make sure that we're connecting young people and their aspirations to those employers that can help meet those. And with that, we have a goal of reaching 6,000 young people with a paid work experience. That could be 6,000 more young people that eventually make it into the Maine workforce. And that is really why and how this can be such an impactful program. We work with young people ages 16 to 24. So, really, that age range gives us so many options to help nourish and really help to cultivate that interest. And then on the other end, to really help young people and young adults move into those positions that are going to help grow that workforce in Maine. And I am excited to be a part of that process.
Yeah, because I think that young people can't really imagine a job or a career without really seeing it or seeing it in action. So this is a wonderful way for people to kind of grow their vision for their lives, right? And be able to picture themselves in a job.
Absolutely. And I think something that I would have loved as a young person is to do exactly that. I always had my couple of part time jobs, but really, if I had had the opportunity early on to start to cultivate, I really love working with people and I really love being able to help provide resources to them. If I had had an opportunity to be able to do that, I think I would have absolutely like relished at that and maybe would have had a little bit different of a journey. I'm still so thankful for my journey that I did get to have. But a little bit of guidance early on makes a huge difference, and having a supportive adult is key.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm forever grateful to my own father who worked for Westinghouse Electric Corporation, and he knew the public relations people who worked for Westinghouse. So when I was in college, he arranged for me to do some job shadowing down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
But
And that's really what opened my eyes to public relations. And were it not for my father taking an interest in my career, I don't know where I would have ended up.
absolutely. And really, it took that one for me, both in high school and in college, it just took that one mentor and one advisor who was like, I feel like we could take a different journey. Why don't we try this? And really just that little push of somebody actually believing in me and saying, like, I see something, it's bubbling in there. We're thinking about it, we're ruminating on it. And then to finally put that into action, that made a huge difference.
I agree absolutely that sometimes when you're young, you don't believe in yourself as much as an older person who's watching you will believe in you. And that really makes such a difference to help you have the self confidence that you need.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can see how Maine Career Exploration will expose young people, as you said, hopefully 6,000 young people, to not only job opportunities, but also to older adults who could become mentors for them.
Absolutely. And again, that age range, 16 to 24, that could mean so many things. And that's what's so exciting about finding that supportive business and that supportive adult, whether it's an ELO coordinator or, somebody in the community, to be able to help that young person see that point of confidence. I can tell you, as somebody who used to work with young people directly, especially in the school systems, when a young person gets that sense of confidence and says, comes into my classroom and says, Miss K, I don't need you to come to the interview with me. And I'm like, I'm heartbroken, of course, because I did want to participate in that. But I also know they're grown and they don't need me. And I just, was able to help find that tiny piece of confidence. And then for them to come back and say, no, I don't need you now. And I feel good about that.
You've given them their wings so they can fly on their own, and that's a beautiful
They
thing.
always had them. I think it's just the ability to like breathe and say, okay, someone believes, okay, fantastic, we're going to take that leap.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So, what are the types of job experiences that you hope to provide access to?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question. And so much of this is driven by young people and their interests, and then the employers and what they're wanting to provide. And sometimes there's a really awesome direct link when a young person says, I'd like to go into veterinary science, and a really awesome that is able to make that connection and make that bridge. And then there's the young person that says, well, I want to work with large animals in veterinary science. And then we're like, okay, how can we make this connection happen? But then you have a farm that says, hey, here's something that is potentially of interest to that young person, and we can provide that to them. Or a young person says, I'd like to be a metalsmith, but I want to work with like sterling silver and fine jewelry. And you say, okay, is that something that we have as an employer here in Maine? And it turns out we do. And I love making those connections all the time. And it's such an awesome opportunity to not only bridge the aspiration and the opportunity, but to help each other kind of craft and explore what that may look like for them. So the employer, never knowing what it's like to host a young person, starting to think internally within their business or organization, what could I offer for a young person? And then for a young person to start, culminating some things together of saying, these are the things I want to learn. Is there an employer that can do this with me? And then to be able to make that bridge is just an awesome opportunity. I hope to connect young people to some of our critical industries when we are thinking about our forestry industry, thinking about our coastal enterprises and things like that, and making sure that we have young people who see the opportunity and the brilliance and the resilience within Maine, within some of our heritage industries, while also making sure that young people get to see all of the options, because I feel like the sky's the limit at this point. We have some young people who are even interested in aeronautics, so I can't even say the sky is the limit because it's not. So
Yeah, right.
we're working on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, there are no limits, evidently.
Absolutely. And even then the sky is feeling like it's just a starting point, and I feel really great about that.
Yeah, exactly. So you've talked about cultivating passion for young people. Why is it important for young people to discover something they're passionate about?
Such a good question. One that I like to approach from both a holistic standpoint and also a practical standpoint of, most folks are going to work about 90,000 hours of their life within their job. That's about a third of your time within the workforce. 90,000 awesome.
90,000 hours?
Approximately 90,000 hours. So, thinking about those 90,000 hours, we really want to have a sense of meaning and purpose within those 90,000 hours. And so, with that, can we help a young person to find something, an industry, maybe a credential of value, a transferable credential of value, transferable skills that's going to help them to cultivate that meaning and vision and passion? Because I want to love every single moment of what I do. And I'm really lucky that I get to do that. And I've had that opportunity. I want them to have that too, but also from a practical standpoint, we know that we want to provide, a variety of opportunities for young people, and we want to provide those opportunities so they can see and craft their own vision and values and purpose. And so by doing this with career exploration, I think that we're setting young people up for success and finding meaning and finding passion and finding that it's not hard to go to the place of, the place of business every day. It's a joy to go to the place of business every day. It's feeling like you matter within the Maine economy. It's feeling as though you're supported in your passion and you have a pathway. And I think that's going to connect young people more directly to Maine and keep them here.
Yes, that will be critical, is to keep young people here so that they don't graduate from high school and then go off to Massachusetts or New York or somewhere. So I do love that about the program.
Absolutely. And again, it's just when I say the sky is really feeling like not even the limit sometimes. There are sometimes young people, let us know about businesses that they may be interested in or industries that we may be interested in. And it's so wonderful for me to learn about all of these businesses in Maine, to see how can I make the connection happen? How can I help an ELO coordinator? How can I help a pathway navigator? Whomever it may be, how can we be a better bridge for young people to see their pathway on the other side?
Right. Yes, exactly. And of course, I can't imagine anyone better than you to be leading the charge for this program because of your passion and your enthusiasm. And I know I've been working with you on public relations. So I worked with you on a segment for the show 207 on News Center Maine. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes. But you were so good on television.
Thank you.
And, really, because you are authentically enthusiastic and passionate, it really comes across.
I hope so. I mean, some of my students, back in the day would have said, Miss K is at level 110 at all times. And I understand that. But it's because they just have this fantastic energy that I want them to also feel just as excited as I am to like be a supportive adult for them. And it's been such a joy to be with young people. And it's been such an honor and privilege to be able to be that support person for them to trust me with something so astronomical as what is their pathway potentially going to be. And I am so thankful for that every single day. And I just want to make sure that everybody has that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, you're literally a pathway between the youth of Maine and the state government of Maine and the Maine businesses and Maine economy. So, yeah, it's kind of like you've got your tentacles out in so many different directions.
It's fun. And I've learned so much even about, from leaving and coming back to Maine. And I've learned so much about the Maine economy. And I'm really lucky to be housed within the Department of Economic and Community Development, because I just get to learn so much from my peers and so much from, our own department. And it's been such an amazing learning curve, but also I am so excited to continue and dive in and make sure that these connections are happening for young people.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned DECD, the Department of Economic and Community Development, because over the course of my career, I have worked with DECD. I hesitate to say it because it dates me, but since the 80s, I was on the Maine Tourism Commission while I worked at Sugarloaf. And that was my first connection with DECD, and then ended up starting my business and having a contract with the tourism office and at one point the Office of Business Development also. So I understand the complexity of DECD and the importance of DECD. So this is a new program. It's funded by a grant. Is that correct,
Yes.
Kay?
Yep. It's an ARPA grant. So it's part of the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan. So it is a $25 million investment from the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan, which is incredible as an initial investment.
I'll say, yeah, that is incredible. Well, we're going to take a short break now, but I just want to remind people that if they'd like to get the first chapter of my book, which is called Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, you can go to prmaven.com/giveaway and sign up to receive our email newsletters and receive that first chapter. But Kay, you might get a copy of the book in the mail. Just a secret between you and me.
I'm excited to read.
Good. We'll be back in just a moment with more from Kay Kerina.
Sprague & Curtis is a locally owned real estate company. We're primarily focused in central Maine. I got excited about Nancy's book because she's so well known in the area for her marketing and branding techniques, and we're always looking to expand and learn and grow. And so a lot of us here at the office decided that we wanted to read her book and learn some new techniques.
It benefits Sprague & Curtis to have a large brand and audience because there can often be multiple years between transactions with clients, so it's important to network with them and stay in touch with them in those in-between periods. And this book really helped us learn some techniques and methods to continue to do that. We organized a small book group with Nancy's book with brokers in our office this winter to share information and remind ourselves how important it is to always be working on our network and continually reaching out to our customers.
Platforms like social media are important in expanding your business, but equally as important are handwritten notes, cards, letters. She inspired me to send her a note of appreciation, just thanking her for the book and her insight. In reading Nancy's book, I was excited to look to continue to grow our brand and our audience. I think she does a great job of motivating us.
Nancy's book really helped me learn a few things in marketing and branding and how important it is to stay on top of reaching out to clients periodically, staying top of mind, providing useful information, and really telling our story as a company.
So remember, you can get a free chapter of my book by visiting prmaven.com/giveaway. And I want to welcome you back. Today we're talking with Kay Kerina on the PR Maven Podcast. The podcast is available on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So Kay, we're going to deviate from our topic just for a moment because I know you're into gardening and I love gardening too. So tell us about your garden.
So I love talking about this. It's one of those things that I have done little bits and pieces over the years. And then finally, I just sat down and I committed and planned out 75 container pots and then 2 4x10 beds for a community garden. And it has been a whirlwind. Last year, I gave away close to 60 pounds of cucumbers because I accidentally planted. I say accidentally, it really wasn't accidentally. I knew all of them were going to live. I just am really bad at thinning out my plants. I planted 6 cucumber plants thinking at least 1 or 2 of them have to, not make it. They all made it and they all produced many pounds of cucumbers. I had squashes until almost the end of October. There's only so much squash you can eat. And I gave away a lot of squash and I was able to grow, cut, and dry all of my own teas. And I'm still drinking my own teas from last summer now in February. And it's been amazing. I have loved gardening. It's such a meditative practice, but also too, such a wonderful addition to my backyard and also a wonderful addition to all of the things that I like to eat and cook. And it's reduced the grocery bill quite substantially. So I like it.
Yeah, well, I know you're a foodie because I've talked to you about restaurants and eating and but I think that that's great. I also enjoy container gardening. I grow a lot of basil and make a lot of pesto, which I freeze. And I have my 2 grown sons, and if they come visit me as a reward when they leave, I give them some frozen pesto to take home with them, which they really enjoy a lot.
I love that. Last year, I did garlic scape tarragon pesto, which was a really different, almost like very earthy, almost like spicy flavor. I did that on top of like a cream pasta, and it was like Parmesan cream pasta, and it was lovely with a little bit of butternut squash from my garden, and it was fantastic. I loved that. So highly suggest tarragon
I'm
garlic
swooning.
scape. Yes.
Swooning, yeah. So we're going to segue from gardening and growing vegetables to growing young people to work for Maine employers. So, how can employers get involved with this program?
Yeah, so we have so many entry points for employers. One of the great things is that we're partnered with so many key players in this. So we're partnered with JMG, Jobs for Maine's Graduates, and they are providing the Maine Career Exploration badge. So if employers want to get involved and host young people for their 40 hours that are a part of the badge, that's an opportunity. If employers want to connect with the Department of Education and their ELO specialist, we have 26 awardees that are part of the DOE. 3 of them are community-based organizations and 23 of them are schools. Connecting to any of the schools that are awardees, and they are actually on our landing page for career exploration. And then we also have a partnership with the Children's Cabinet out of the Governor's Office of Innovation Policy in the future, and 5 community-based organizations through there. And so if you'd like to connect through there, and then there's me. I'm happy to take you from point A to point B, wherever you may be located. We have representation through all of our partners within all 16 counties. So we're really excited to be able to provide this for employers and an entry point that works for everybody.
Well, that's terrific. And we will provide your contact information at the end. So if any employers want to reach out, they can connect with you. So how about if a young person is listening to this episode, or the parent of a young person, how can they get involved with the program?
Yeah, great question. So young people, there are so many entry points for you as well. We have partnerships, like I said, with JMG. So if your school has a JMG specialist, if your school has an ELO coordinator, that's another person for you to reach out to there. If you're a young person who's connected within your community, and say you're in the Lewiston area and you want to connect with Tree Street, that's a community-based organization who's there for you as well. You can connect directly to me. I've actually had quite a few young people connect directly with myself, and that's been such a pleasure to be able to say, hey, did you know that you have an ELO coordinator in your school? Or, hey, did you know that this opportunity is available, through the badge, and then sending them to the appropriate place. And if, a parent or guardian wants to reach out, I'm happy to let you know what schools are available. Happy to let you know what access points you may have in your community through community-based organizations as well. But young people, I feel like you have so many doors. You even could reach out to the apprenticeship program and potentially even work with them, and potentially end up having some time with us as well. You could have a connection through VR. You could have a connection through a bunch of different channels. There's no wrong door for you, and we're really excited to have you.
That's awesome. So you mentioned farming and forestry and seafood. What are some of the other industries that jobs would be in?
Yeah, so when I said the sky's the limit, it really is. But we're seeing a lot of young people coming into a lot of the trades. We're seeing some young people as well going within education and teaching. We have quite a few young people who are teaching assistants within some of the younger grades and have been loving it. Some young people are going into some of our apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship pathways as well. And that's been such a great opportunity, because the sky, again, is the limit, and we're really trying to find as many interests for young people as possible. So again, I mentioned education. That could be being a classroom assistant, but that could also be education administration. So maybe it's working with some of the school support services for young people within, a younger grade or something like that. That could be working with community-based organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs, and seeing if that's a good fit for you for education and working with young people. Like I said, we've also had some young people work within veterinary science, and that means a lot of different things. And I've learned a lot about what that may be. We have some young people within Maine Guides and outdoor recreation, and that's just been a wealth of knowledge, and really getting young people connected back to nature and back to the Maine community through that. And so it's been amazing. And those are some other industries that have been represented.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually was a registered Maine guide at one point for whitewater rafting.
Awesome.
So I learned about that whole process through the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, that you become certified to guide. And that's an industry in Maine that's pretty unique to Maine, I think.
Love that.
So is there a way that schools can register to be part of Maine Career Exploration?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different ways that they can have entry points. So they could reach out directly to myself. If they are partnered in a school that already has JMG, they can partner even deeper through that way. Easiest would probably be if you are not connected through an ELO coordinator or a JMG specialist or, say, a community-based organization, would just be to reach directly out to myself and see if I can help make that that community or school connection for you.
Awesome. Well, we're going to, again, provide your contact information. But first, I want to ask, is there a book, a podcast, or an app that has been helpful to you in your career or your life, and why?
Yes. So one of my favorite apps is actually called Structured, and it's almost like a calendar app where you can block out time and you set your phone and it does the Pomodoro method. So 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And it really helps with my productivity because my inbox usually has about 200 plus emails in it every day. So getting through those and making sure that all of the pieces are connecting can be hard. And that has been a really great addition, along with Asana is one of the task management apps that I absolutely love. And those two together have been life-changing when it comes to productivity.
Cool. Asana and Structured.
Yes.
With a D on the end?
Structured with a D on.
Structured.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll put links to those in the show notes, but those sound like really great apps for getting things done, basically.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's been such a game changer because I even schedule in time to just sit and breathe for like 2 minutes, just a couple, it's really helpful. Just a couple minutes to breathe.
Pretty necessary. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I've been using the meditation app through my Peloton because I have a Peloton bike, but one of the things I never expected when I got that was that the app would have this wonderful component of meditation. And I use it every day now to help me settle my mind because, I'm sure I have a feeling too that your mind is like, woo, things are circling around all the time. It's hard to turn it off.
Always,
like a
always.
ball.
And I love that. And I also sometimes just need a little bit of calm. So that's a really good recommendation because my roommate has a Peloton. So maybe I can ask.
Oh yeah. Find out if you can use that app.
Absolutely.
So how can people get in touch with you to connect with Maine Career Exploration, Kay?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. So if you go to the landing page, there's a way that you can connect with me through there. I believe my email address is listed on the bottom through our link tree, or you can reach out directly via email. I do try to answer my phone as much as possible. It's been ringing off the hook with a lot of summer plans for youth employment and things like that. But phone, email, landing page, LinkedIn, any and all of the above.
And what is the web address for that landing page?
Yeah, so if you go to our link tree, it's the very first link that's on there right there.
Okay. All right, terrific. And we'll share that in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Well, Kay, this has been really great. I understand it was your first podcast interview, so congratulations. You did great.
Thank you.
I expected nothing less. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And if they want to give me any feedback or suggest another guest, you can email me at nancy@prmaven.com. So, Kay, I hope you have a great day. And thank you for joining us on the PR Maven podcast.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven Podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the Skills and Games section to find and enable the PR Maven Podcast Flash Briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.